Hi, my name is Inês and today I want to talk about a TV show that everyone seems to agree is just amazing. And that show is The Penguin. And don't worry, this video will be spoiler free in case you haven't watched it yet. The Penguin is DC Studios' drama/mafia show that takes place in the universe of the new Batman film, The Batman, and is set after the events of the movie, but don't worry if you haven't seen it since they kind of tell you everything that you need to know. This show follows one of Batman's most famous rogues, Penguin, in his ascension to becoming the infamous villain. I was a bit nervous about them doing a spin-off show since many times these franchises end up favoring quantity over quality, but this show seems to be exactly the right move after the Batman movie. I mean, this portrayal of the character is incredible, in the sense that there hasn't been one moment where I saw Colin Farrell. I mean, the voice, the face, the walk, it's all Penguin, but I will talk more about that in a little bit, because first I want to talk about how Marvel should really take some tips from how DC is doing this show. Like with the Batman, here we are going back to the basics and the beginning and opting to tell a story that takes place in a less complicated time, and I think that is a very smart choice. Here there are no multiverses or even superpowers. As a kid, I always wondered what made Batman such a famous superhero when he had no superpowers, and the answer that I got was that Batman has the best villains and as such the best stories. Now, obviously this is a matter of personal preference and I'm a bit biased, but Batman's villains are indeed the ones that most people know about. I mean, if I ask someone on the street, name one of Superman's villains, they probably wouldn't know any, but everyone knows Joker and most people even know the Penguin. So the Batman comic book world, I think, always took great care in creating these interesting, memorable characters that brought Gotham to life. Again, very few people know about Central City, for example, but Gotham is widely known, and I think that the reason behind that is that Batman's superpower and driving force is his love and dedication to Gotham. So for you to love Batman, you also have to understand, and in a way, also fall in love with Gotham. And the best way to do that is to get to know the city, the people who live there, and obviously the rogues. Previously there was another TV show that also understood this, and I'm obviously talking about Gotham, which is a far from a perfect series, especially in later seasons, but it has always been the TV show that I recommend people watch when they want to get into the Batman universe, because it introduces you to most of the rogues and the Gotham police and takes great care in explaining the origins of the characters and having them developed over the seasons. Here in The Penguin, I feel like they are taking what they did in Gotham and elevating in terms of storytelling, writing and production. So while Disney decided to do a bunch of Marvel TV shows with very little depth, depending mostly on famous faces, special effects and really superficial humor, here DC Studios is going as deep and grimy as Gotham City deserves, favoring character-driven storytelling and showing, correctly, that superhero stories can be more than just fight scenes and special effects. And also is correctly using the extended time that a TV show provides to make us really get to know and understand Oz. In reality, in the beginning, when Bruce Wayne became Batman, he was trying to clean the city from corruption and from the crime families. That is what Gotham City was built on, and so it's incredibly important to acknowledge that part of Gotham's history and not focus only on the rogues. That said, I think that they made a great choice focusing the story on Oz, aka the Penguin, as he ascends through the criminal underworld to become a rogue. This way, we still have the crime families as important characters, but we do not focus solemnly on the Maronis or the Falcones, which I think that are just less interesting characters. If you are a Batman fan like me, then this TV show is full of little Easter eggs, but I think that it works quite well for new viewers. Batman Year One is a very famous Batman comic that was written to create a new start-off point for new Batman readers and to give a sort of original Batman origin story, as it follows Bruce's first year as Batman and Gordon's first year in Gotham PD, and them both dealing with Gotham's corruption. And this comic is one of the few that the Batman and the Penguin are based on, so I think that they are providing a great start-off point for new fans where you don't need to know anything about the story before. So obviously I think that this is a really clever move by DC Studios, where they acknowledged that they were not going in a good direction with the DCEU and that things had just gotten too out of control, and just a mess basically, and decided to create this new Batman universe and do the story right this time from the beginning, and also create a separate new DCU, or DC Universe. This is a common occurrence in the comic book world, where when the story has gotten too convoluted, they create a new start-off point for new readers in order to make it less overwhelming to get into the story. I think that is exactly where Marvel is getting it wrong, where I feel like they are taking continuity and character development less and less seriously, because there are just too many stories happening at the same time and too many past events to take into consideration, that in order not to overwhelm new viewers, they just create the most basic of plots and the most superficial of storylines, relying too much on special effects and fight scenes, throwing continuity out of the window so that anyone can watch their movies/TV shows at the expense of quality. Also, just like what happens in comic books, DC Studios plans to create a new main universe called the DCU that will be the new primary continuity and will include the new Superman movie. Everything else that is not part of the main continuity is what they are calling Elseworlds, creating these independent stories and universes, like the Batman universe, that follows the world created in Matt Reeves' movie The Batman, and which the Penguin is part of. Although I love big cinematic universes and the merging of several storylines, I think that creating these standalone universes, meaning that what will happen in these stories is indifferent to the main storyline, will mean that these stories will have to stand on their own, leading to better well-developed storylines and characters, without being constrained by the demands of a shared universe. I also want to add that I think that this is a show that is going to appeal to more than superhero fans. By not relying so much on superpowers and special effects, there are a lot more people that may be open to giving this show a shot, since in reality it's more of a crime/mafia show, like The Sopranos. In a way, I think that it could have the same effect as the Joker film, where people who would never go and see a superhero movie loved it because while being the story of a supervillain, is more importantly also an incredible portrayal of someone falling into madness. As I said, the Penguin was the perfect choice for a main character. Here the writers are giving a slightly new spin on the villain, even deciding to change his name from Oswald Cobblepot to Oswald Cobb, in an effort to transcend the typical tropes of comic book villains and ground the story. For me, I think that he's always going to be Oswald Cobblepot, but right from the start, it's clear that the writers really did justice to the character, portraying a very multi-layered man. One of the reasons why the Penguin is such a dangerous Batman villain is because of his ambition, his intellect, and his manipulation skills, with him always looking after himself. Just like in the show, he is often underestimated and uses that to his advantage, demonstrating how he can think fast on his feet. His ruthless nature and temper are still very clear, and together with his cunning schemes and moments of vulnerability, Oz's character is a captivating blend of darkness and humanity. He is driven by a desire for power and recognition, while creating for himself some twisted, deluded role as protector for the people. The side characters and his relationship with them also help to better understand the dark aspects of his psyche, as the story takes us on a journey that provides a deeper and deeper understanding of Oz's story and just how far he's willing to go. Each character, including the amazing portrayal of his mother, is a product of Gotham City and forgiving environment. Their personalities and their motivations are deeply influenced by the city's darkness, showcasing how Gotham itself is in the center of this universe. But brilliant writing is not enough to make a character come to life, and here Colin Farrell's performance is incredible. In many ways, it reminds me of Gary Oldman's performance as Churchill. Obviously, all the makeup and prosthetics help not seeing the actor, but still is an incredible transformation, and is probably really uncomfortable to act with all of that. I already knew that Farrell is an amazing actor, but here, once more, he's doing an incredible job, and I wouldn't be surprised if this show earns him a few awards. Overall, this show has been a very nice surprise. It's a bit sad that these days it's difficult to expect a superhero show to be good, but maybe things are getting back on track if the Penguin is any indication. Thank you so much for watching. As always, this is only my opinion and I cannot wait to hear what you thought of the show. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. I have a long list of videos that I want to make and I cannot wait to share them with you.